All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the final webinar in our Webinar Wednesday series to celebrate March, which is National Nutrition Month. My name is Marissa Frieder, and I'm a program coordinator for the WorkWell NYC team. Before I introduce Elizabeth Solomon, who will be our speaker today, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about WorkWell NYC. So if this is the first time joining us, welcome. WorkWell NYC is the city's worksite wellness program, and we are here to help you work well and live well. Our goal is to create worksites that make it easier for our employees to live healthy and active lifestyles. We know that health is more than just not being sick. It's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's financial, and it exists on a spectrum, and we're all always at different points on that spectrum. And so we aim to be here for you with resources, programs, and support no matter where you are. We have a range of programs available at the worksite. We have diabetes classes, Weight Watchers meetings, fitness classes, stress management resources, and many others. And we encourage you to visit our website to learn more. But one thing that we have heard from you over the last few months is that there's a lot of interest in learning more about healthy eating and nutrition. And rightly so, healthy eating is totally essential for our lifestyle to reduce your risk for a lot of serious chronic conditions. And so we're really happy to be able to bring you this webinar. We have Elizabeth Solomon here today. She is the Assistant Director for Healthy Eating's program at the City Department of Health. She's also a registered dietitian, and so I'm going to turn it over to Liz to walk us through this presentation on the advantages of healthy drinks.
Great, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for being here. I'm going to first review our agenda. We are going to talk about what sugary drinks are and examine their impact on health. We'll then discuss how advertising influences sugary drink consumption. And finally, we'll explore strategies for making healthy drink choices. As we go through the workshop, you may have questions, and hopefully we'll have time at the end. Marissa, I'm sorry, I have to pause.
Okay.
Can we start over? I'm so sorry, but I didn't know if you... Are you moving the slides?
I will. I'm sorry, but I totally didn't yet. And I just realized that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you weren't like
relying on you.
Do it, because yeah.
No, thank you. Usually Emoja is here, like to do that part, so I kind of zoned out. But yeah, okay. I told her she could go back to work because we weren't doing the polls or anything. She's back.
I can hear you guys.
Right. We're gonna start over.
It sounded like you was kind of like
okay. Sorry.
Me or Liz?
I heard I would hate you the whole thing over.
Okay, so, we're gonna start over.
I'm trying to see if we should just do.
Should we start it?
Pause it and then try to go into the phone mode instead of using the complete. I don't know if I can record the audio.
I think we need the computer mic, right?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe just talk louder.
I'll talk louder.
Yeah.
Or bring the
phone even closer. Rare, though. It happened like once or twice, and that was it. But besides that, I could hear you, but I thought I heard it. So I was just sitting there listening.
And I'm like sitting here like, why do I need to change a slide? And I was like 4 slides behind.
Yeah.
So
you guys are gonna start over.
We're gonna start over. So should we stop the recording and just start again? Can we do that?
I don't know.
Stop recording. Recording.
Yeah. It looked like it just paused.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the final webinar, in our Webinar Wednesday series to celebrate March, which is National Nutrition Month. My name is Marissa Frieder. I'm a WorkWell NYC program. And before I introduce Elizabeth Solomon, who is our speaker today, I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We are WorkWell NYC, the city's worksite wellness program, and we are here to help you live well and work well. Our goal is to create worksites that make it easier for our employees to live healthier and more active lifestyles. We know that health is more than just not being sick. It's how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, your financials, your environment, And we know that health exists on a spectrum. And so we aim to be here for you with resources and programs and support no matter where you are on that spectrum. We have a range of worksite programs, including diabetes prevention classes, Weight Watchers classes, fitness classes, stress management resources, among many others. We encourage you to email us or visit our website to learn more. But one thing that we've heard from you in the last few months is that there is a lot of interest in learning more about healthy eating. And rightly so, because healthy eating is absolutely essential for a healthy lifestyle. And combined with being active, it can reduce our risk for a lot of chronic conditions. So I'm excited to have Elizabeth Solomon here today. She is the Assistant Director for Healthy Eating Programs at the City Department of Health. She's a registered dietitian, and she's going to talk to us about healthy beverages and how we can use beverages to promote our health. So take it away, Liz.
Thanks, Marissa, and thanks everybody for joining. Let me first go through the agenda. We're first going to talk about the impact of sugary drinks on health. Then we'll talk about advertising and how it might influence drink consumption. And finally, we'll explore strategies for making healthy drink choices. So I hope you leave here today understanding the health impacts and influences of sugary drink consumption. I hope you know how to learn how to calculate how much sugar, is in your sugary drink. And finally, I hope you leave with 2 strategies that will help you make healthier drink choices. So what's the big deal? Let's start with the impact of sugary drinks on health and why we should be concerned. Sugary drinks include soda, sweetened iced tea, and energy, sports, and juice drinks. They are the single largest source of added sugar in our diet and account for almost half of all added sugars consumed in the United States. Sugary drinks can lead to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cavities, and weight gain. And weight gain can lead to obesity, which is linked to many chronic conditions such as high blood pressure and cancer. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States and in New York City. All in all, sugary drinks are making New Yorkers sick. The dietary guidelines for that less than 10% of total daily calories should come from added sugars, or meaning sugars not naturally occurring in food. So this recommendation applies to all age groups and sexes, and it translates into about 12.5 teaspoons of sugar, added sugar, for an average adult who consumes a 2,000 calorie diet. For a moderately active 8-year-old child, this amounts to less than 10 of added sugar daily. Most people in all age groups sugars every day, and we'll see how easy that is to do on the next slide. Here's a visual depiction of 20 ounces of 5 well-known drinks. Drinking any one of these drinks puts you over the daily added sugar limit for adults and puts you way over the daily limit for children. So, for example, that moderately active 8-year-old child's daily limit for added sugar is 40 grams, or as I said, 10 teaspoons. And an average adult is 50 grams, or as I said, 12.5 teaspoons. Drinking any one of these drinks will give you a lot more sugar than those limits. And remember, some people, the limit may be even lower. So we've explored how bad sugary drinks are for our health and how easy it is to get too much sugar by drinking them. Why do people drink them? Let's explore some of what is behind this behavior. We know that advertising works, and food and drink companies know this too. That's why in 2013, they spent more than $800 million to advertise sugary drinks. Think about where you have seen sugary drinks advertised. Companies advertise their drinks in lots of different ways, including on TV, both in commercials and in product placement, on social media, in online games and apps, and in print ads in public spaces, subway stations, and on buses. Sugary drinks are heavily marketed to youth, communities of color, and in low-income neighborhoods. Drink companies routinely use famous singers, sports stars, models, and cartoon characters to appeal to children and youth. This type of targeted marketing is particularly effective. Studies have shown that children prefer foods that have characters on the wrappers, and children as young as 2 years of age recognize brand logos. And youth of color are particularly targeted by food and drink companies, in part because they consider this group to be cultural leaders and trendsetters. Let's look at New York City. In many neighborhoods in New York City, sugary drinks are heavily advertised. A 2012 study in the Crotona-Tremont neighborhoods of the South Bronx showed that 86% of the food and non-alcoholic drink ads in supermarkets were for sugary drinks. That is a huge proportion of advertising in these retail environments. This advertising often spreads confusing messages about balance, portions, and choice. The photograph in the middle on your screen is an advertisement specifically targeted for low-income shoppers, highlighting the ability to use Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, to pay for soda and the low cost of the product. But of course, it doesn't highlight the high cost and health outcomes from consuming this product. The impact of this targeted advertising may be particularly harmful for children and teens who are most susceptible to the influences of marketing. It may also be particularly harmful for low-income and communities of color who already suffer disproportionately from diet-related diseases like obesity and diabetes. This is simply unfair. And we know there's an association with advertising and sugary drink consumption. A 2011 New York City study demonstrated a higher prevalence of sugary drink advertisements in neighborhoods with sugary drink consumption than in neighborhoods with low consumption. Let's take a closer look at consumption rates in New York City. In New York City, almost a quarter of the people have one or more sugary drinks per day. Consumption is higher in Black and Latino adults than in white adults, and these disparities exist starting at a very early age. As you can see, while the percent of New York City children consuming one or more sugary drinks per day is too high across all age groups, more than twice as many Black and Latino children are consuming sugary drinks daily compared to their white peers. These disparities also exist in younger children as well, 0 to 5. Last shows us the rates of sugary drink consumption in neighborhoods across New York City. So consumption is higher in the darker shaded areas, sometimes as much as 4 times greater than the light areas. Remember, these products are linked to serious chronic disease. In neighborhoods with the highest rate of sugary drink consumption, we also see higher rates of chronic conditions like diabetes and obesity. There's a growing movement across the country to counteract beverage industry tactics. Locally, a lot is happening in New York City. The New York City Health Department works to change the environment to make the healthy choice easy choice through policies and regulations. For example, policies restrict sugary drinks in city agencies, day camps, after schools, and group child care centers. The CUNY Urban Food Policy Institute, also here in New York City, trains young people to create counter-advertising messages about unhealthy food and drinks and spread the word throughout their communities. Some places across the country have passed a sugary drink tax to increase the cost of these unhealthy drinks. These efforts are extremely important, but of course they take time. So what can we do to control our own actions today? During today's presentation, we'll look at some ways that you personally can take some steps to avoid the healthy impacts of sugary drinks and make better drink choices for you and your family. So now that we've explored the health impacts of sugary drinks and how marketing influences sugary drink consumption, we're going to discuss some strategies you can use to help you choose healthier drinks. Some of these ideas will work for you and some may not. The goal is for you to learn at least 2 new strategies you can use right away. First, we'll talk about the ways you can be a healthy role model for your friends, coworkers, and family. Then we'll look at the information provided on drink labels and how you can use that to make healthier choices. Next, we'll talk about ways to be aware of and avoid the influences of marketing on our behaviors. And finally, we'll talk about some ways you can drink more New York City tap water, which is delicious and virtually free. On the screen, you'll see all the specific strategies we'll talk about. So let's explore our first strategy of being a healthy role model. Many of you probably have children in your life, whether they're sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, or the children of your friends. Kids look up to adults in their lives and model their own behavior on yours. They're always watching, and whether you realize it or not, they do as you do. So it's very important to be a role model for healthy behaviors for the young people in your life. You can also be a healthy role model for your coworkers, adult friends, and family members, and you'll be doing something good for yourself in the meantime. You can easily do this by having healthy drinks at mealtime and with snacks. Water, seltzer, unsweetened tea and coffees, and low-fat milk all can be good choices. Drinking water and seltzer is the best way to hydrate your body, and these, along with unsweetened coffee and tea, don't add empty calories to your meals. Low-fat milk provides important nutrients such as calcium, protein, and vitamin A without adding unhealthy fat to your diet. If you can't tolerate dairy, look for unsweetened non-dairy alternatives. Be mindful when choosing bubbly waters to avoid sodium. Look for one that doesn't include sodium, contains sodium, because a little bit of sodium in your drink can add up over time. Keep these healthy drinks within reach to make the healthy choice the easy choice. And don't keep sugary drinks in your home. If you don't stock the fridge or cabinet with sugary drinks, they won't be around to tempt you and your family. Our second strategy is to read and understand the labels on sugary drinks. Information about the sugar content of the drink is available on the nutrition facts label, and added sugar information is available in the ingredients list. You can use this information to find out how much sugar is in your drink so you can avoid drinking too much sugar. Before we dive into the strategy, let's do a game of let's guess how much sugar is in this common sugary drink. So the first one is a 20-ounce cola. And the answer is 14 teaspoons of sugar. As you can see, this is way over the daily limit for both children and adults. What about sweetened tea? Can you guess how many teaspoons of sugar are in this 20-ounce bottle of sweetened tea? The answer is 14 teaspoons. That is the same amount that's in the bottle of soda. Let's do one more. Can you guess how many teaspoons of sugar are in this 20-ounce sports drink? And the answer is 9 teaspoons of sugar. Keep in mind that these added sugars are empty calories that contribute no vitamins or minerals to our diet. And the point of this guessing game is that sugary drinks have a lot of added sugar, a lot more than you might guess just by looking at them. And there really isn't a good option when choosing them. Most exceed the daily limit of added sugar for children and adults. So if you're choosing a drink at the store, you can find out how much sugar is in your drink by reading the nutrition facts label. Our second strategy to help you make better choices is to understand the label so you know how much sugar you're getting. This on the screen is a nutrition facts label of an energy drink. The first thing to look at when reviewing the nutrition facts label is the serving size. There are 2 serving sizes in this container, so if you drink the entire can, you have to multiply the numbers on the nutrition facts label by 2 to find out how much of each nutrient you're getting. Let's focus on the sugar in this drink. The label tells us there are 30 grams of sugar in 1 serving. So if you drink the entire can, you will need to multiply 30 grams by 2 to find out that you're actually drinking 6 grams of sugar. Now we're going to do a little more math. There are 4 grams of sugar in 1 teaspoon. So if we divide 60 by 4, it equals 15 teaspoons of sugar. So if you drink this entire can of energy drinks, you are drinking 15 teaspoons of added sugar. Remember, an average adult diet of 2,000 calories per day should have less than 12.5 teaspoons of added sugar daily, and that 8-year-old active child that should have less than 10 teaspoons. So one of these drinks, again, is well beyond the limit. You can also get information about added sugar by reading the ingredients list. Let's look at all the words in an ingredient list that tell you that added sugars are in that food or drink. On your screen, you'll see sugar, brown sugar, corn sweetener, corn syrup, fruit juice concentrate, high fructose corn syrup, honey syrup, maple syrup, evaporated cane juice, invert sugar, malt sugar, molasses, raw sugar, and words ending in O's like dextrose, fructose, glucose, lactose, maltose, and sucrose. All of these words indicate that sugar has been added to a food or drink. And all of these types of sugars, regardless of the color or shape or name, contain the same amount of calories. So if you want to choose a product that has little or no sugar added, watch out for these ingredients. And remember, ingredients are listed in order by weight. So the first few ingredients listed make up most of the weight of your product. If it's listed near the beginning of the list, this tells you that most likely there's a lot of added sugar in the drink or food. Let's move on to our third strategy, being savvy about marketing. We already talked about all the ways sugary drink companies bombard us with advertising by spending hundreds of millions of dollars each year. But what can we do? How can we counteract the effects of this kind of marketing? The first step is to be aware of these advertising strategies. Let's look at an example. A common strategy used by drink companies is to say that individuals should take personal responsibility for leading a healthy lifestyle. Specifically, they say that people should balance what they eat, drink, and do. In other words, they should balance the calories they get from food and drinks with the calories they burn off through exercise. So let's take a closer look at this message about balance. How much exercise would it actually take to burn off the calories in one 20-ounce soda? Well, one 20-ounce soda has about 240 calories. So how far do you think you would need to walk to burn off that amount of calories? Well, the answer is you would need to walk roughly about 3 miles, the distance from Union Square to Brooklyn. Clearly, that is not so easy to do for everybody and really may not be such a, easy with one 20-ounce soda and getting in that 3-mile walk. Just thinking about and talking about the messages around you may influence your own and your family's sugary drink consumption. Ask yourself these questions and talk about them with your family and friends. Why do drink companies use characters and famous people that appeal to some groups of people more than others? Where am I seeing ads for sugary drinks? What messages are ads sending about specific body types and activity levels? What messages are they sending about different races or genders? And finally, when possible, limit your exposure to advertising, taking a break from media sources. Turn off all screens during mealtimes. This will limit your exposure to sugary drink advertisements and will also help make family meal times a time to share and bond with one another. Our final strategy is to drink New York City tap water. Water is the healthiest drink of all and is what your body needs to stay hydrated. New York City tap water has 0 calories, is clean, safe, delicious, and is essentially free. Keep a pitcher of water in your at all times so it's cold and ready to enjoy. To make sure you stay hydrated all day, carry a water bottle with you and refill it at water fountains when you're out and about. Water fountains are free. This water fountain prompt sign on the screen can be downloaded from the New York City Health Department. Ask your supervisor or talk to your building facilities personnel about posting it near water fountains in the office. And make water more flavorful so that you'll enjoy drinking it more of it. Water is the perfect canvas for adding your favorite flavors and for trying flavors. Just pick your favorite fruits, vegetables, herbs, and mix and match until you find what you love. I'm going to finish with talking about some resources to support you in making changes to your sugary drink intake and your diet overall. You can visit the New York City's Department of Health website at nyc.gov/health to get lots of information and materials. If you search for sugary drinks, you'll find information about New York City Tap Water, including recipes for flavor-infused water. You'll also find the Guide to Healthy Eating and Active Living in New York City and links to a variety of other recipes and tools, like a healthy plate planner. There's also a link to more information about fruits, veggies, and farmers markets, including Farmers Market Map, which lists the location of nutrition education workshops and cooking demonstrations that take place at select markets from July through November. The USDA also has a variety of healthy eating resources at choosemyplate.gov, including a sign up for daily tips, handouts, and recipes. And finally, you find other great resources at the WorkWell New York City website for helping to enhance the health of city employees in the workplace and beyond. Lastly, let's take a minute to make a plan for the future. What is one sugary drink you'll replace with a healthy drink, and how will you make that happen? Think about who you will talk to about the marketing tactics used by drink companies. Thank you so much for attending. I hope this presentation has addressed some of the questions you have about healthy drinks and given you some strategies and resources to help you make healthier drink choices. I'm going to pass it back to Marissa.
Thank you so much, Liz, and thank you all for attending. At this point, we have time for some questions, so you can go ahead and type any questions you have in the right-hand corner of your screen in the chat box. In the meantime, we encourage you to take this survey that's on your screen. You can copy-paste this link into your browser. It is case sensitive, but we'd love to hear your feedback so we can continue to shape these webinars and provide you with information that is useful to you. And as with our prior webinars, anyone who wants to share their feedback and give us their contact information means we will be able to send you a free WorkWell NYC MyPlate. And this is the final webinar of our series, and so we will be sharing with everyone the links to the recordings for all 4 now that they're complete, so you can go back and review if you have any questions. But now we have some questions coming in for Liz. So the first question, Liz, what is your opinion on diet sodas in moderation? Is it sometimes better to have raw sugar versus an artificial sweetener?
Thanks, that's a great question. While diet soda has fewer calories and added sugar compared to the full calorie beverage counterpart, really your best option is water or seltzer. And again, you can infuse these drinks with flavor or if you would like. City regulations do not allow the Department of Education or group child care centers to serve artificially sweetened beverages to children. So the city does not recommend giving them to children. However, the city also does not affirmatively recommend diet soda, as more research on long-term effects is needed.
Great, thank you, Liz. What about coconut water? Is that a healthy choice?
I would encourage you to look at the label on your coconut water and just make sure that it doesn't have added sugar and that the sodium content and the saturated fat content is low. In general, my understanding of coconut waters is that all of those things are low and there are no added sugars. So I would say, yes, they are healthy, but I would encourage you to double check the nutrition facts label as the market and the food industry changes products rapidly.
Great. And what about fruit boxes for children? Are those okay? And do you have any recommendations? If not?
So in general, better choice to eat fruit, the whole fruit, rather than drink the juice. And the reason for that is the fiber. When you eat a whole piece of fruit, you get the benefits of all the fiber from that fruit, which are typically removed when you drink juice. And in our group childcare regulations, we limit juice to 4 ounces per day for children, and we actually restrict juice to any child under the age of 2. So I think if you are drinking juice, be sure that it's 100% juice and keep the portions small.
And we have a lot of questions coming in about flavored water in general, whether it's water that's pre-bottled and flavored or, sugar-free, packed. Can you give any advice on using those?
Sure. Again, you've got to go back to your food label. So in general, flavored waters, as long as they just have a little flavoring and really the only other ingredient is water, those are great choices. A lot of flavored seltzers out there that you can purchase that are great choices. In terms of the sugar packs, it sounds like you're talking about artificially sweetened sugar packs. So I would say the same information about diet soda applies to any artificial sweetener. The city, does not affirmatively recommend artificial sweeteners, as more research on long-term effects are needed.
Great. What about agave? Is that a good substitute for sugar?
My understanding with agave is calorie for calorie, it's the same as sugar. So in terms of keeping your calories and your added sugars down, it's probably equivalent.
Great. Thank you, Liz. And one last question. Is New York City water better to drink than bottled water?
New York City tap water is, as I said, very safe and is highly regulated. My understanding of bottled waters is that they are not as highly regulated. So I would strongly recommend tap water. It's also less expensive and safe.
All right, added bonuses right there. Thank you, Liz, so much for joining us today and for all of our webinars this month. We look forward to doing some more WorkWell NYC webinars throughout the year, so please stay tuned to our emails and our website. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
Great, thank you.